What's up? Welcome in. We're going to jump into some NFL trade discussion in a moment. But first, speaking of the NFL trade deadline, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications because we're going to be live here on Chat Sports next Tuesday, November 1st. Deadline passes at 4 Eastern, 3 Central Time. We'll probably be live 1 Central Time, 12 Central. We'll have to wait and see. But that's why you turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we go live. So hit that sub button. Turn that notification bell on because big few days coming up here at Chat Sports. You're watching NFL Daily. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. And on today's show, the top 20 players most likely to get traded with the trade deadline approaching. Obviously, guys like Christian McCaffrey, Kadarius Toney, Robert Quinn have already been moved, but I think there's a lot more movement still to come over the next 4 or 5 days. So I'm taking a look at 20 players, 10 on offense, 10 on defense that could get dealt between now and November 1st. Let's start it off on the offensive side of the football. A couple running backs here. First off, we got Cam Akers with the Los Angeles Rams. He wants out of L.A. Seems like the Rams are motivated to move him and give him a fresh start. Weird how this thing is played out, but if teams need running back help, he could be a guy to monitor. Perhaps a more intriguing player for teams because of his ability to catch the football is Kareem Hunt. There's a report out there that the Browns are willing to trade Kareem Hunt before the trade deadline. Things have not gone to plan. They're 2-5. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's not going to be available until, week 12, week 13, whatever it is. They were hoping to be more in contention. That may not be the case by the time Watson is back. So trading Kareem Hunt for a 4th, 5th-round pick could make some sense for the Browns. Wide receiver DJ Moore, he's probably the best receiver that could be attainable on the NFL trade market. DJ Moore is kind of that tier 2 number 1 type of receiver. You know, he's not a Jamar Chase, a DeAndre Hopkins, a Tyreek Hill, but he's in that next tier level of number 1 receivers. Very, very good player. I'm guessing the Panthers probably want a first-round pick for DJ Moore. I don't know if I would give that up. I'd probably rather give up like a 2nd and a 3rd than just a 1st, but we'll see what his market ends up being. Carolina obviously has a lot of guys that teams are interested in. Brian Burns, who we'll get to in a little bit. I'll be curious to see how many players Carolina moves before the deadline. How about Chase Claypool? He's been wrapped up in some trade rumors for the past several weeks as well. I've talked about this on some of my team shows that I do. When you think of Pittsburgh right now, they've got Deontay Johnson, who they've already paid. George Pickens, who they drafted, who's doing pretty well as a rookie. Is Claypool the odd man out moving forward? You look at his 3 seasons so far. First 2 years averaged about 60 catches for over 860 yards. 9 TDs that first year, only 2 last year. But this year, 28 for 266 and a score isn't quite as productive. They may not want to pay 3 guys with Johnson already paid and Pickens showing a lot of potential. So Pittsburgh could be willing to move him for a day 2 pick. This is a name to keep an eye on. How about Brandin Cooks? I mean, the guy's been traded so much. He's 1 trade away from either tying or passing Eric Dickerson's record, I forget. But he's been traded a lot. He's on record saying he doesn't want to get traded again. But at the same time, if you're Houston and you can get assets for the future as you kind of commit to this rebuild here, Brandin Cooks is one of the top assets you have. 2nd-round pick for Cooks, I think he could help a lot of football teams. Now, name a player that you want your favorite team to trade for before the NFL trade deadline. Even if your team is a seller, maybe there's someone out there that you would like your team to pick up. Let me know who that player is down in the comments. Another receiver here, Jerry Jeudy for the Denver Broncos. His name has popped up a lot in recent days. Jeudy, of course, a first-round pick a few years ago. He's kind of been average. Now, I know the quarterback play since he's been there hasn't been great. Russell Wilson hasn't panned out so far since that trade, but they really like Cortland Sutton. They might be willing to part ways with Jerry Jeudy. KJ Hamler, I think, is someone that they are pretty motivated to trade for or trade away. He's been underwhelming. Him and Russell Wilson don't seem to be on the same page. What was it, that Colts game where he's spiking his helmet in the end zone after Russ didn't even look his way when he appeared to be open? He could be a guy that's available for cheap, 4th, 5th-round pick. We'll monitor those 2 Broncos wideouts. Elijah Moore with the Jets. I don't think he gets moved, but he apparently requested a trade. Now he's back in the building this week. Robert Saleh says he's going to play this week, but anytime a player puts a trade request out there, it has to be taken somewhat seriously, so we'll monitor that situation. Didn't list him here, but Denzel Moore, another Jets receiver that could be on the block as well. Offensive lineman here, Isaiah Wynn for the New England Patriots. He's been connected to trade buzz since the offseason. Starting caliber tackle. If a team needs a lineman, he could be available. Andre Dillard as well with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's their swing tackle, one of the top tackles on the market right now. Philadelphia isn't going to give him away for cheap, but I think they could take a day 2 pick for him if they wanted to go that route. Could help replenish that 4th that they lost when they traded for Robert Quinn. Now, BetUS is today's sponsor here on Chat Sports, and go bet on NFL games all season long. Got another good weekend of games coming up here in Week 8. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. That is chatsports.com/bet. Got to use that link to use the promo code to get you 125% deposit bonus. You can bet on Super Bowl odds, Rookie of the Year odds, MVP, of course, game spreads, prop bets, over-unders, all kinds of stuff. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball now. Brian Burns with the Carolina Panthers. I think he's the biggest name on the market and the biggest value player on the market. These 3 teams have reportedly reached out to Carolina for Burns: the Kansas City Chiefs, the LA Rams, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the report is that Carolina wants 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns. Would a team be willing to give that up? I think he's worth that. He's got, over 30 sacks already in his career. So keep an eye on him as well. I don't think the Panthers are just going to give him away for less than what they want because he is that good and he's young enough that he could be a part of a rebuild in Carolina. Now, what do you guys think? Is Brian Burns worth 2 first-round picks? Is he worth that? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think he is for a win-now team. Buffalo, Kansas City, the Rams, Philadelphia. I think a team like that could make a lot of sense, but what say you? Y for yes or N for no? If you want to go cheaper route but still productive, Yannick Ngakoue could be available for the Indianapolis Colts. Second-round pick, maybe it costs a first, I'm not sure, but he's good for 8 to 10 sacks a year. That's kind of what he does. He's already got 3.5 through 7 games this year, right on pace for that 8 or 9 number. With the Colts switching quarterbacks to Sam Ehlinger, they're probably not going to be contending the rest of the way, so Ngakoue could be had. How about Marcus Davenport? Had 9 sacks last year, only half a sack this year. If you want to buy low on a talented young player, he could be available. If the Saints lose this week and they're 2-6, if I'm New Orleans, I'm selling. Cam Jordan as well. He's 33 years old. He's a vet, but he's still productive. 4.5 sacks so far this year for the veteran edge rusher. He's got 8 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits. I'm a big fan of Cam Jordan. I think a team like Kansas City, if they don't want to, spend big for Brian Burns, they could throw one of their second-round picks at New Orleans. That could be a fit that makes some sense. Another edge here, Bradley Chubb with the Denver Broncos, having a great season on a contract year. But again, Denver's 2-5. They're underwhelming right now. So if you're Denver and you want to get some return back, you might be able to get a first-round pick for Bradley Chubb, and I think there'd be some teams that would pay it as well. A few more players here. Matt Ioannidis with the Carolina Panthers, that interior defensive lineman. He could be on the market as well. How about Roquan Smith? I don't know what the Bears are going to do here. They already traded Robert Quinn. They got a surprise win over the New England Patriots to improve to 3-4. If you're the Bears, if you win, if you pull the upset in Dallas this week and get to 4-4, you're in the hunt in the NFC. If you lose 3-5, you kind of fall back a bit. So I don't think a trade would happen before this weekend, but Roquan leading the NFL in tackles, 78 on the season, has 2.5 sacks, 2 picks, 4 TFLs, 4 pass breakups. Ultimately, when it comes to Roquan and the Bears, I don't think he gets dealt. Ryan Poles made it clear that he likes Roquan a lot, despite Roquan requesting a trade in training camp. He likes playing in Chicago. He just wants to get paid. I think they play this year out, but Sunday's game could dictate that decision. All right, let's go to another linebacker, Shaq Thompson. Again, back to Carolina. If you're a team, call the Panthers and see who's available, because they could be in fire sale mode over the next few days. They already traded Robbie Anderson. They traded Christian McCaffrey. We've talked about 3 or 4 other guys, Burns, Ioannidis. There could be a lot of DJ Moore. There could be guys on the block for the Panthers. Now, speaking of Carolina, who should they hire as their next head coach? What do you guys think? We also put up a Carolina Panthers coaching search video a few weeks back. If you subscribe, you can go check that out on our videos tab. But what do you guys think? Who do you think they should target as their next head coach? Couple more here. William Jackson, he wants out of Washington. We'll see if that trade ends up being granted, but an athletic corner who in the right system I think can be a CB2 type. Sidney Jones, I think he's more of a CB3 good backup player, but he's had good years in the past. He's kind of just gotten lost in the shuffle up there in Seattle. But I think if you're looking corner, these are the two names to monitor the closest. All right, there you go. 20 names to monitor between now and the NFL trade deadline. Again, we'll be live on Tuesday, November 1st. Don't know exact the time. That's why you turn on your notifications. That way you know exactly when we go live. To turn on your noties, you got to be subscribed first, so be sure to do that. I am Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys soon here on Chat Sports.